What's up, everyone? This is LeetCode 438. Find all anagrams in a string, right? So we're given two strings, S and P. Return an array of all the start indices of P's, anagrams, and S, right? So it's basically just an anagram problem, but the issue is we can have anagrams in here somewhere, and we just have to return where the indices of where the anagrams exist. We've done an anagram problem before, so you should have somewhat an idea what anagrams are, right? So for example, here, this is an anagram of P, right? Because CBA can be rearranged to ABC, and it starts at index 0. The indices is basically where the anagram starts, right? So index 6, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? BAC can be rearranged as ABC. Okay, so we have two anagrams. So that's what our output should be. Now, in terms of how we're going to solve this problem, it's going to be a sliding window problem, okay? And I'll explain this with a picture just so you kind of understand what we're going to do. We're going to use hash maps for our solution. I'll kind of draw this out, just kind of explain basically what we're doing, okay? So our keys really are just the letters, and the the values are just the counts, right? Or the frequencies of letters, okay? So this is kind of like, this will always remain the same because we have to find anagrams of this in here somewhere, right? So the way we're going to build this out is we're going to start at the start here, right? And we're going to go basically in a for loop, just sequentially go through this input string S. And the way we're going to do this is we're basically going to do a sliding window, right? So we're going to handle this C first. We're going to also use a hash map here, right? Right. So first of all, let's handle this C, right? So C sets the frequency of 1. Then we expand our sliding window even more. This B sets to 1. Then we handle CBA. Okay, CBA. Boom. 1. Okay. Now, now when we go from here to a fourth window, this window now is bigger than this, right? So what we're going to do, right? Well, before that, we would actually, because this window size is 3, basically, right? We're basically going to check if an anagram exists, and the way we check if anagrams exist is just using the hash maps, right? Using the counts, rather than doing like some complicated algorithm. That's kind of the point of the hash maps, right? So we have a count of 1 for A, one for A here, 1 for B, 1 for B, 1 for C, 1 for C. So we know we can rearrange these and they'd be anagrams, right? So the index, which would be 0 here, this would get added to the output, okay? So our output, right? This would get added to our output. Now when we go here, right, we have a window size of 4, which is greater than the length of P, right? So we need to basically do something different here. So what we're going to do when our window size gets too big is we're basically going to remove this character and remove it from our hash map. And then we're going to add this to our hash map, right? So now we're checking these 3 characters, right? Because we don't care about this one anymore. Because really, we only care about window size that's 3. So that's basically how we're going to handle it. And we're basically going to keep moving along and, right, look at this, look at this, look at this. Sorry if it's a little messy. And look at this, right? And we'll just keep doing it like that, looking at 3 characters at once, moving along in a sliding window fashion, right? And because it's a for loop, we won't have any issues where we're out of bounds or anything. So I just wanted to draw that out kind of so you kind of visually understand what our solution is going to do, or what it's going to be like. It's not too complicated, really. I think it's a little hard to come up with on your own, but I think the solution, honestly, it's not too complicated, right? Let's just take it slow and we'll explain things, right? So first of all, if the length of S is less than the length of P, let's just return an empty list because we cannot make an anagram if the length of P is greater than the length of S, okay? Just like a base case. So remember, we're going to create a hash map for P. So we're going to say P map. We're going to say collections, owner. Okay, and now we need to do the same for S map. And here's our for loop, right? And we'll build out S map as we go along, basically. Okay. So first of all, when we're at a given character, if that character is not in smap, basically we can set the count to 1 to basically create the key and set the value to 1. That's what we're doing here, okay? Now, if s of I does exist in the hash map, we can just increase the counter, okay? All we're gonna do, boop, 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 plus equals 1, right? Just basic hash map stuff. Okay, down here. So if I is greater than or equal to the length of p, right? This is basically the case where our window expands to 4 slots, or to a size of 4, right? So we basically want to take the leftmost character in that window, remove that from our hash map, add the rightmost character to our hash map, so we're only looking at a new window of size 3, okay? So we're basically removing that. We're looking at 4 characters right now, but we don't want to look at 4 characters. Let's remove the leftmost character, right, and add the rightmost character. Well, we don't add. Sorry, we don't add the rightmost character because we did that up here. But we when we have a window size of 4, we need to remove the leftmost character in our window, right? So we're only looking at 3 characters instead of 4. So we're going to do that, right? So the way we're going to do that, which if we're looking, like, let's say we have a window like this that we're looking at. I don't know, B A C B, right? We might have a case like this where B is a frequency 2, right? In which case we just want to decrease it by 1. Or we might have a case like this where this character is actually a frequency of 1, in which case we don't want to decrease it, we actually want to remove it from our hash map, okay? It kind of depends on the frequency, that's why we need to do 2 things. So basically, if the s map of, and the way we get the leftmost characters, we would do s of I minus length of p, right? Because let's say 0, 1, 2, 3, like let's say we have, let's say I is at, oops, let's say I is at 4, right? Sorry, let's say I is at 3, right? In our for loop. So A, B, C, D. So I would be like, this, right? And let's say P is just whatever, A, B, C or something. We'd basically do I minus length of P, right? And P is 3, so I minus 3, so 3 minus 3, which would give us 0, and that would basically give us this leftmost position here, which is what we're doing basically. Okay, we're just getting the leftmost position. That's what s of si minus length p does. Okay, so if that is equal to 1, meaning there's only 1 character, we need to actually remove it, like I said, right? So we do delete s map s of I minus length p. Okay, otherwise the frequency is actually greater than 1, in which case we only want to decrease it. We don't want to actually remove it, because, well, I mean, our new window could have that. We'll have that character, obviously, right? So we don't actually want to remove it. We just want to decrease it by 1. So s map s of I minus length p, right? If I'm gonna decrease that by 1. Okay, we're just removing the leftmost character. Remove leftmost character if we have window size of 4. So we don't look at window size of 4. That's basically what we're doing. We're just fiddling with the hash map in that case, right? Now here is basically where we check if the this is the simplest part of the code, really. We're just checking if we have a anagram, right? We're going to say if pmap is equals to smap, right? We want to basically do answer.append, to do I minus length of p, right? Plus 1, right? Because let's say we have something like AB, or we'll just do example 1. Let's say we have CBA and we have ABC, right? I would be 0, 1, 2, right? So 2 minus 3 would be -1. Obviously, we don't want to append any negatives. But that wouldn't be a correct index. So we have to add the +1 there so we actually get the proper index, right? Because we want index the indices should be 0, not -1, right? And then outside of the for loop, we return answer, and that should be it. This problem is syntactically a little strange, but not too difficult. What did I call my answer? Oh, I didn't create the I did not create the variable, right? We need an answer array, obviously. That's what we have to append to for our output. Okay. But yeah, this problem is a little, I don't think it's hard to understand, but I think like syntactically is a little strange, honestly. Like I don't think the solution is too difficult to understand personally, but yeah, it is a little weird because you're like, I don't know, calculating is the right word, but you're basically just grabbing the window size and stuff, and it can get a little, it might seem a little confusing, but I did explain what these are doing, so I hope that made sense. I also showed you the picture, so I hope that makes sense, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.